This is some footage I recorded about a year ago when I was in Depoe Bay, Oregon. It originally was part of one of my first TikToks that has since been deleted because I thought it was bad. Now, the reason why Depoe Bay is actually worth a video is because it is purportedly the smallest harbor on Earth. According to the sign that's in front of the harbor, it says it's the smallest natural navigable harbor. That is a very specific description that serves lots of Tommy Tallarico Guinness World Record. For whatever it's worth, there are no other obvious contenders that have come out of the woodwork to claim the title of smallest harbor. The harbor, as you could guess, is incredibly small. It can barely hold, I'd say, a dozen boats at any one given time. But did you know it actually used to be smaller? Before I explain that, I kind of want to go into the history of the place, because it's surprisingly interesting. The land that is Depoe Bay is right here on the Oregon coast. This wider area used to be inhabited by the Siletz tribe. This tribe used to inhabit much of the Oregon coast up until colonization and them getting moved onto a reservation. They were part of the wider Tillamook tribe, which is what the cheese is named after. The origins of the town we know now started in the mid-1800s, around 1850-ish from what I can gather. A man by the name of Charlie Depoe and his wife Minerva moved to the area that would later be Depoe Bay. Both Charlie and Minerva were actually members of the Siletz tribe. About 40 years later, in the 1890s, the federal government gave the land that is Depoe Bay to Charlie and Minerva's descendants as part of the Dawes Act. The Dawes Act is a really complicated law from the 1800s that gave land to Native Americans to try to force them to participate in capitalism. I'm not joking. Many Native American cultures did not fully believe in private property, and the federal government wanted to assimilate them more. And so they're like, you don't want private property? Well, too bad. We're giving you some. Now deal with it and pay taxes. The descendants of Charlie and Minerva continued to live there, and other people moved in, slowly turning the homestead into a town. It took the name Depoe Bay as a weird conversion of Depoe, or at least that's the going story. As with most small town histories, there's a lot of different conflicting things. You can check my sources in the description if you want to see them all. So here we have the initial town of Depoe Bay. And at the start, there wasn't a harbor. It was just a bay. A very small, shallow bay. When it was high tide, you can barely squeeze in a few small boats, and when low tide came, there'd be no water left in the bay, leaving the boats just on the ground. In 1939, the actual harbor was built. The initial size of the harbor was 375 feet long by 125 feet wide. It was also 5 feet deep. Now, as you can see, that is quite small. Here's the average size of a fishing boat from that time. As you can see, can't hold that many. The harbor stayed that small for 13 years until 1950 when they finally decided to make it bigger. They closed it off, pumped everything out, and started enlarging it. Ended up being 750 feet long by 390 feet wide, and it was 8 feet deep. This new larger harbor size is the size it is today. The last improvement happened in 1963 when the main channel going into the harbor was widened from 30 feet to 40 feet, and also lowered to the same depth as the new harbor depth of 8 feet. Since then, the size of the harbor has remained unchanged. There have been other improvements to it, but none of them have actually made it bigger or smaller. Some other notable things about Depoe Bay is the spouting horn, which is one of Oregon's natural water spouts. It formed because of some caves under Depoe Bay, and so when the tide comes in or big waves, it shoots through the caves and up through the spout. Pretty cool. Depoe Bay is also the whale watching capital of Oregon. I can attest to this because while I was visiting it, I saw a lot of whales. So that's it. Depoe Bay is the smallest harbor on Earth, which is what I would say if I hadn't discovered Seacliff in Scotland. This harbor is definitely smaller. While I haven't been there, just take a look at this picture. Just look at it, it's so tiny. Its entrance is, at least according to this website, only 2 meters wide. And it can only hold about 3 boats at a time. Now, Depoe Bay is still the smallest natural harbor because Seacliff was blasted into the rocks. But Seacliff is way smaller. And there probably are smaller harbors elsewhere, especially for counting little dinky places like Seacliff. But that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. More is on the way.